And on this Thursday, July 23rd, 2026 edition of Newsmakers, President Trump says a nuclear deal between the U.S. and Saudi Arabia is subject to Saudi Arabia joining the Abraham Accords. Press Secretary Caroline Leavitt reiterated the president's comments during a briefing today, saying it's a long-term goal for the president to expand the accords.
He wants to see these countries sign the Abraham Accord. It was one of the most historic accomplishments of his first term, and it continues to be a long-term goal of his to expand those accords to ultimately come to a place where the Middle East can be a peaceful and stable region.
President Trump said on social media today the deal does not allow for enrichment of uranium. Non-proliferation experts have raised concerns the deal fails to include guardrails to prevent enrichment of uranium to weapons-grade levels. Trump has sought to build on the 2020 accords, which expanded the number of Arab states with diplomatic ties to Israel. The Saudi embassy in Washington, D.C. declined to comment. Iraq's prime minister is urging Christians who fled the country to return after decades of conflict and violence. Prime Minister Ali al-Zaidi is offering investments in healthcare, education, and land projects to encourage families to come back. Christian leaders say many remain skeptical because security, discrimination, property disputes, and political representation remain unresolved. One Syriac Orthodox archbishop says Christians are unlikely to return until the causes of their exodus are addressed. Iraq's Christian population has declined from about 1.5 million before the 2003 invasion to fewer than 250,000 people. Fresh attacks on Christian communities in the eastern part of the Democratic Republic of Congo have left more than 20 people dead in less than a week. The Allied Democratic Forces, an Islamic State-linked militant group, is blamed for the attacks targeting predominantly Christian communities. Local churches say fear is growing as families flee their homes and church activities are disrupted. Catholic bishops in England and Wales are urging lawmakers to reject the latest assisted suicide bill. One archbishop says the legislation is deeply flawed and is moving forward without key issues being addressed. Church leaders argue the bill lacks adequate safeguards for vulnerable people and does not protect the conscience rights of healthcare workers. They also warn it could undermine trust between patients and medical professionals and divert resources from palliative care. The bishops are encouraging the public to contact their members of parliament ahead of the expected September vote. Texas Attorney General Ken Paxton is getting a slap on the wrist from an appeals court. He had sued a Houston-based midwife, accusing her of providing abortions in violation of the state's near-total ban. Today, a 3-judge panel ruled the state improperly used an anonymous email complaint as evidence to get 3 clinics shut down. They can now reopen, but the criminal proceeding against Maria Rojas remains pending, and she still faces life in prison if found guilty. And that's Newsmakers for this Thursday, July 23rd, 2026 edition. I'm Keith Black.